Today we are going to spend our time talking about what the research and what the science has to say around differences rooted in behavior tying back to gender. The objectives for today really are to help each of you start to feel more comfortable in talking about gender differences, be in a place where you understand them more, and then finally be in a place where you're leveraging the gender differences. Over the last 30 years in particular, there has been voluminous amounts of research done in this area that substantiates there are differences between the male brain and the female brain that make a difference in how we show up. It's undisputed. So on that note, I want to start off with this idea that men's brains are filled with boxes and women's brains have balls of wire. What happens in the man's brain is that he has 6 times more gray matter than a woman has. And what happens is when a man is processing information, he'll open up the box and think about the idea and the concept, and then he'll close the box. A woman's brain, on the other hand, has 10 times more white matter. It's the wiring that connects all of the boxes that are in the brain. We are able to quickly open up the boxes and hop from box to box to box to box, keeping the boxes open in thinking about ideas. These differences are neither wrong nor right, they just are.
I think men might be misunderstood. Too decisive, too direct, where we just express our collaborative attempts differently, in different ways. And so sometimes that confidence can be misconstrued as arrogance, right? Because they might have the answer, like you said, and they go to where they're where they want to be right away without explaining the 5 steps.
The other thing is be mindful of the fact that if a man is under stress, he'll start to try to tick those boxes, right? Decision, so that he can spend some of that time and energy on the collaboration. Recognize that in that person, and if you need to, say, maybe now's not the right time.
In a man, if they're assertive, they're considered decisive. And you actually can look around the room and you can see people going, they're decisive, we need more of that here. Whereas a woman could be just as decisive or even a little bit less. You actually almost can perceptively see everybody moving back a little bit. And it's the exact same results, but the way they're perceived is actually quite different.
Many years ago, I had a colleague in the room, and he started off with the typical male behavior you described of, here's what we're going to do and we're done and everybody march forward. And I found myself in the room sort of starting to recoil. How I responded to it was very telling, and I think there's a lesson to be learned in that, in trying to understand and, to your point, not rush to judgment. I think it's the ability to manage those things, knowing what other people, how other people are making decisions. You need to stop and think, don't jump to the conclusion the person is indecisive. You might find, if you listen carefully, they have actually spent the time thinking about it.
When we sit in a mixed setting, and we should sit in a mixed setting and appreciate the diversity, plan your meetings in ways that if you want it to be more collaborative, set boundaries and guidelines. This is going to be more collaborative. So in some of my meetings on my leadership team, we have name cards at times, and I'll turn it around. It's discussion debate. It's not decision time. And then we turn the card around for decision time. Everybody gets to speak, right? And ideas are based on merit.
Follow the cues that are given to you, and don't be afraid to reset the conversation.
Differences are just that. They just are. They're neither right nor wrong. Made it much more comfortable to talk about it.
Get a healthy balance of mentors. Don't get all mentored by men or just women, and don't be afraid to go ask someone to mentor you.
And my last thing would be just to pause, constantly be pausing and asking yourself, is something cultural going on here? Is there a gender difference or a personality difference at play? And most importantly, if so, how do I adjust?